Hi, it's Katrina! From footprints of the abominable snowman to evil snow queens and beasts with a frozen heart, here are 8 mythical snow monsters. Be careful, you never know when you might run into one. Number 8. The Minnesota Iceman. In 1968, the alleged remains of a snow monster, then known as the Sibirskoye creature, were transported around the U.S. as part of a traveling exhibition owned by a man named Frank D. Hansen. The 5.9-foot-tall carcass appeared to be a hairy, hominid-like being. Hansen's story originally claimed that the creature was discovered off the Siberian coast, conveniently floating in a block of ice. He later claimed it was found by a Japanese whaling ship. Then he said it was discovered in a deep freeze facility in Hong Kong. One popular tale holds that the deceased animal was discovered in Vietnam, close to where Hansen was stationed during the war. The eventual and most widely accepted version of Hansen's seemingly ever-changing story is that the creature was discovered in the Whiteface Reservoir region of Minnesota. In keeping with its inconsistent origins, the carcass was renamed the Minnesota Iceman. Several people who saw the creature up close were convinced of its authenticity. According to an examination by cryptozoologists Sanderson and Heuvelmans, the ape-like barrel-chested animal had large hands and feet, a thick neck, and broad flattened face with an upturned nose. Heuvelmans even published a scientific paper identifying the creature as a new species of living Neanderthal. Not all experts believed the Minnesota Iceman was real. Primatologist John Napier of the Smithsonian Institution was invited to examine the specimen and concluded that it was made from latex. Hansen claimed that Napier was exposed to a fake because he withdrew the genuine model from display out of fear that he'd be criminally prosecuted for killing a human-like creature. Most people believe that the Minnesota Iceman was an elaborate, albeit not very organized, hoax. What do you think? Let me know in the comments. Number 7. The Yeti. The Yeti comes from Nepalese folklore and is described as a tall ape-like creature covered in shaggy fur. They live high up in the Himalayas, and many Sherpa told visiting Westerners to be careful since they often saw their footprints in the snow. The first photographic evidence of the Yeti was produced in 1951 by respected British explorer Eric Shipton, who captured an image of a large hominid-like footprint near the border between Nepal and Tibet. Ever since, numerous expeditions have attempted to come face-to-face with the legendary beast. Yeti fever truly took off in 1954 after the Daily Mail set out to find the creature, which at the time was simply called the Abominable Snowman, according to modern-day author and Yeti seeker Daniel Taylor. Throughout the 50s, an American oil man named Tom Slick launched several search missions, even bringing along bloodhounds to try tracking the Yeti's scent. Taylor of West Virginia is one of today's top experts on the Yeti. At the advice of the King of Nepal, he went looking for it himself in the country's Barun Valley, one of the wettest, thickest environments of the Himalayas. He found a strange, human-like footprint that was large with an opposable thumb. Jackpot! Well, not really. To his disappointment, what Taylor thought was a Yeti footprint turned out to be the impression of the paw of a tree bear, which, unlike most bear species, has opposable thumbs, giving its paw print an eerily human-like appearance. Even the Russian government organized a conference of Bigfoot experts in 2011 and an expedition that claimed with 95% certainty that they had found physical remains. Professor Brian Sykes of Oxford University also collects and examines Yeti artifacts. Most of the items he receives belong to bear or sheep, including those analyzed by DNA sequencing. Nobody has proven that the Yeti exists. Even with DNA technology, we seem no closer to finding the fabled creature. Still, some people are die-hard believers, and sightings and footprints continue to be reported. In April of this year, the Indian Army claimed to find Yeti footprints measuring 32 by 15 inches near Makalu Base Camp in Nepal. Do you believe that the Yeti is out there? Let me know in the comments below. Number 6. Barbegazi. Native to the French Alps along the modern-day border between France and Switzerland, the Barbegazi are fairies, or little people often depicted as gnomes or dwarves. They resemble a cross between a miniature Santa Claus and an elf, with pointed ears and a long white beard with icicles hanging from it. In fact, this beard is how the Barbegazi got their name, which translates to frozen beards. The Barbegazi are most recognizable by their unnaturally huge feet, which they use to ski down the mountain slopes. They spend the summer months hibernating inside the tunnel system and caves of the mountains, emerging only after the cold weather sets in. Unlike the rest of the creatures I'm going to tell you about, the Barbagazi are friendly. They don't interact much with humans, but on these rare occasions, they're known to be kind. So, not terrifying, but they are still interesting. They even save lives by whistling to alert people nearby of impending avalanches, and by helping shepherds find lost livestock. They're also capable of tunneling through the snow. I wouldn't mind running into one of these guys. They seem alright. What do you think? And now for number 5. But first, what is your favorite mythical beast? Let me know in the comments below. And be sure to subscribe and click the notification bell if you're new here to join us. Number 5. Yukionna. The name Yukionna translates to snow woman in Japanese. This deadly monster appears as a beautiful woman who lost her life in the snow. Depending on the legend, Yukionna's method of attacking her victims varies. According to some myths, she causes travelers to become lost and leaves them to die of exposure. Other stories claim that she creates blizzards, causing travelers to perish in the inclement weather. In one myth, Yukionna carries a young child named Yukinko, who wears a traditional Japanese straw snow cloak called a yukimino. She freezes anyone who tries to steal Yukinko from her, even if it means invading their homes by blowing the front door open with cold air in the middle of the night. I don't know why people are going around trying to steal her child. Yukionna is also a seductress who freezes unsuspecting men to death with her icy kisses. Nobody knows for sure why Yukionna victimizes innocent people. Some believe she simply enjoys doing so. Others think she feeds on their life force or blood. There's no known way to escape Yukionna other than by getting her to show mercy, which is possible in rare cases. She's been known to occasionally spare people's lives, including a youthful and handsome man who later unknowingly married the snow monster. Whoops! Number 4. The Ijirak. The Ijirak is a shapeshifter of Inuit mythology who kidnaps children and people with naive and innocent hearts. When it's not shapeshifting, an Ijirak is invisible, so nobody knows what it truly looks like, making it very difficult to spot. Ijiraks are very deceptive and can appear in the form of any living being, but these creatures dwell between the world of the living and the dead, and the place they call home cannot be reached by adult mortals. Most humans that manage to go near the Ijirak's home become confused and somehow get turned around. The only people that ever get to see where the Ijirak lives are their victims, the children that they steal. The unsuspecting little ones are cruelly lured away from their homes by the monster. Once caught, they are hidden, abandoned, or eaten. Even the kids who are lucky enough to be spared from being eaten never see their villages again and suffer for the rest of their lives. By paying close attention to their surroundings, children can avoid being kidnapped by an Ijirak. When one approaches, it makes a human-like whistling noise, but this sound cannot be attributed to any visual source. Kids who hear this whistling sound upon meeting someone are told to run for their lives to avoid becoming an Ijirak's next meal. Number 3. The Muhaha. The Muhaha is another creature of Inuit mythology, but it's a bit sillier than the Ijirak. It's a humanoid being with long frozen hair and ice blue skin that's cold to the touch. Unlike actual humans, the Muhaha doesn't mind the cold. In fact, it nonchalantly goes about its day shirtless and barefoot, with a diabolical smirk plastered to its face. The Muhaha might sound terrifying, like the Joker, and if you come into contact with one, it's a good idea to be scared because you're indeed likely to meet an untimely demise, but with a smile on your face. This monster has bony fingers with long nails and attacks its prey by tickling them to death. Legend holds that the Muhaha's victims meet their end with contorted, frozen smiles on their faces. The Muhaha isn't very intelligent, providing targets with the advantage of being able to outsmart it. Potential victims are encouraged to ask the foolish monster to join them at a nearby watering hole, and to simply push the creature into the water when it bends over for a drink. The currents will take care of the rest by sweeping the Muhaha helplessly away. Good to know, I guess. Number 2. The Knuckle Avi. The Knuckle Avi is a demonic winter monster of Orkney mythology and, as you're about to learn, is truly the stuff of nightmares. For most of the year, it's trapped in the water at the hands of a powerful female sea spirit called the Mither of the Sea. During the winter, the Knuckle Avi emerges from the watery depths. This terrifying creature looks like a horse, with the upper half of a human protruding from the middle of its back. The human-like portion of the monster has arms that are too long and drag along the ground, and a head 3 times too large, which loosely bobs back and forth. It has fin-like appendages where its hooves would normally be. The horse head part of the Knuckle Avi has one blood-red eye and a gaping mouth. This creature has no skin, instead displaying its muscles, black and yellow veins, and other insides. To make matters worse, it also has terrible breath, which kills crops and causes livestock and people to get sick. Ew! After the Knuckle Avi appears, drought follows, and if someone comes into contact with one, it will chase after them. To escape it, the person must run across a freshwater body. The Knuckle Avi is a saltwater creature that symbolizes sickness, and it therefore can't stand freshwater. At one time, people feared the monster so much they only spoke about it in hushed tones and didn't dare utter its name. To be safe, any discussion about the Knuckle Avi was finished with a prayer. It's possible that the story of the Knuckle Avi was used to explain sickness, particularly the plague and harvest troubles. Number 1. The Chen Yu. Chen Yus are human-like ice giants from Native American legend around Maine. They're much bigger than people and also enjoy eating them. Great! They will rub themselves with pine resin and then roll around on the ground so the leaves and dirt stick to them, creating the perfect camouflage. Then they will wait for an unsuspecting person to walk by. Legend is they were once humans themselves, but became Chen Yus after being possessed by evil spirits, or as a consequence of committing the crime of cannibalism. The despicable act of eating another human is rumored to turn someone's heart into pure ice, which sets the transformation from person to monster. A person can also become a Chen Yu by withholding food from someone who's starving. Usually, the only way to escape being a Chen Yu is through death. In some stories, however, it's possible for a Chen Yu to revert back to human form by extracting or somehow regurgitating its icy evil heart. Once the heart is removed from the Chen Yu's body, it must fully melt in order to be completely destroyed. Then the Chen Yu must fill its empty chest cavity with a human heart. Once this is done, the creature is once again considered a person. Easy peasy. Thanks for watching. Winter and its monsters are coming, you guys. Which one did you think was the scariest? Let me know in the comments below, and be sure to subscribe if you haven't already. See you next time. Bye!